So for those of you not in the loop, it turns out I have a form of costacolitis. What is costacolitis, you may ask? Well, it basically means that I have an inflammation of the muscles that connect my ribs to each other. So it basically means whenever I take a deep breath, I get a sharp shooting pain in my rib cage, which is really not fun. For example, oh, you fucking bastard. What I have learned in my short time experiencing this condition is that you need to take a deep breath a lot of times throughout the day. Like, I'll just sit breathing normally, maybe through my nose, whatever, and then every so often I have to take a little one of them. And if you're wondering, oh Liam, how long is this gonna last? 3 to 4 weeks is the prognosis. It will go away on its own. There's nothing the doctor can do about it apart from prescribe me codeine for pain relief, and I'll be completely honest, even when I've taken the codeine, the pain is just as bad as it was before. So the codeine's not really doing anything. So all I have to do is deal with it for 3 to 4 weeks. And it's worse when I lie down, it's worse when I sit down. It's horrible. I won't wish it on anyone. Thank you to everyone on the YouTube community tab that gave me well wishes and, you know, just have been very understanding about the delays for this episode. I really, really appreciate it. Although I must clear up, some of you have been saying, take it easy, Liam, you just had surgery. I haven't had surgery. What I said in my community tab post was I was going to the GP surgery. The GP surgery is the doctor's surgery. The doctor's surgery is the place where the doctor works. I haven't had surgery. I wish I had, because I wish it was something that could be removed to stop the pain, like take 6 of my ribs out or something. There's a joke there, probably. But yes, I've not had surgery. I just have an incredible pain every time I take a deep breath, and it sucks, and that's the way it's going to be for the next 4 weeks. But no one gives a shit. No, some of you give a shit. But no one gives a shit. Let's just talk about some Pokemon. So today's episode begins with Ash training hard for the Pokemon League by jogging. I'm not being funny, but I'm pretty sure training for the Pokemon League should involve like teaching your Pokemon new moves, helping them to perfect their known moves, maybe helping teach them to dodge and stuff like that. Surely it doesn't matter if the Pokemon trainer themselves is in marathon running shape or not. Fat people can be trainers too, Pokemon. Be more inclusive. I love how nobody in this region seems to know anything at all about Togepi, yet they still make bags with the Togepi pattern on them. I guess maybe the people who make the bags have psychic type Pokemon working for them that can see into the future and can predict the Johto region? I don't know. A car goes past and drives through a puddle which sprays over Ash and also surrounds him in a cloud of exhaust fumes. Ash becomes disoriented and walks out into the road, causing a massive multi-car pile-up and somehow manages to escape certain death. I'm just saying, mate, this all could have been avoided if you were just jogging in the right place on the road. You see this solid white line right there? That clearly shows where the edge of the road is, and there's plenty of space between that and the railings for you to jog along. But for some reason, you've decided to jog on the other side of the line, about a foot or so into the path of traffic. Ash Ketchum either has a death wish or is completely ignorant. Pass it on. Also, during part of this scene, Pikachu's tail colours have flipped for no reason. Worst part is, I can't decide if I like it better this way. You fucking moth. Moth cunt. Sorry, it's a moth. I hate moths. After blowing her whistle over and over and over again for what feels like an eternity, Officer Jenny finally clears the traffic. When asked why it's so busy, Jenny says it's because Humunga Dunga is coming. I'm just saying, Humunga Dunga is a pretty good name for what I dropped in the toilet this morning. Ah, IBS, you absolute cunt. So it turns out Humunga Dunga, are you sick of hearing it yet? Because I'm sick of saying it, is a huge wave that only comes around once every 20 years. Mate, if this is a surfing episode, this is going to take me 20 years to get through it. That sounds boring as all hell. So surfers are all trying to ride big enough waves to be able to stick their flag into this giant rock higher than anybody else. No, I wish I was making this up. It is literally that lame. Look, firstly, if you do manage to stick your flag in the highest part of this rock, what do you get? You get to point at the rock and say,
"See that flag up there? Yeah, that one, the highest one, that's my flag."
And then the person you're showing it to will just be like, okay. And don't give me all that, oh, but they're risking their lives because they could drown or they could be injured if they hit the rock really hard, so they're all really brave and it takes so much practice to do, bollocks, because I couldn't give a toss. Do something interesting that doesn't require risking death, then I'll be impressed. This opinion was brought to you by the Fun Police. I should get a police uniform for that. And more importantly, if Humungadunga, the huge, giant wave, only comes around every 20 years, then why are people trying to stick their flags in the rock now? Surely nobody's going to get their flag higher than the surfer that rides Humungadunga, so what's the point? It's just a lot of effort to go to for second place, is what I mean. Something that takes zero effort is hitting the like button to show you're enjoying this video. It helps out the channel so much more than I think some of you realize, but it's so simple to do. Just tap that thumbs up button. Let's go for 5,000 likes on this video if we can. It would really help me out. And don't forget to share the video on social media and leave a comment down below. Even if you can't think of what to comment, just a nice generic comment will help us out so much in the YouTube algorithm. Don't put the word algorithm in it though, because I think YouTube filters that out. Just something generic like, I enjoyed this video. This video gave me a boner. Wow, Liam's so dashing and incredibly handsome. I wish I could look like him, or I could date someone that looks like him. Wow, thanks guys. I really needed that, especially with this whole fucking rib thing going on. Appreciate you. Oh, you fuck. Also, if you're one of the many people who watch Pokemon WTF Moments but haven't yet subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you never miss an episode of the series or anything on the channel. Officer Jenny tells everyone the story of Jan, the surfer who 40 years ago rode Humungadunga and got his flag into the top of the rock. See, it's already been done, so who cares? This episode is gonna drag, man. Ash grabs a surfboard from seemingly nowhere and heads for the sea. When Misty tells him he's supposed to be training, he says he is training to be the best, just like Jan. Ash mate, Jan is the best surfer. The best surfer, not the best Pokemon trainer. You're not going to learn anything from surfing with bugger all experience, except for maybe what drowning feels like. Oh look, fan service. And for anybody that wants to tell me that this isn't supposed to be fan service, then please explain to me why Misty in her swimwear got a random zoom out to a full body shot and a little twinkly sound effect. The lads didn't get that treatment with their swimwear, did they? It's almost like Pokemon were making a point of,
look at our girl character in her swimwear. You like that, don't you?
You shouldn't though. She's 10 years old, mate. Not really a WTF moment, but this scene does remind me, and this applies to so many voice actors, that somewhere there is an archive of audio files of Veronica Taylor just going, and that just always makes me laugh. Ash's Pikachu looks over towards a nearby cliff and sees a blue-eyed Pikachu sitting on the edge looking out to sea. And I guess this Pikachu must be the inspiration for Alolan Raichu, since it's a surfing episode and it has blue eyes just like Alolan Raichu. The blue-eyed Pikachu's tail starts glowing, and a man in a nearby shed, who's surprisingly not wanking, suggests that the Pikachu is sensing an incoming big wave, but not the big wave. Excuse me, but did I miss something? Since when could Pikachu as a species sense incoming ocean waves? That's not something I ever read about in the Pokedex. Let's hope they explain this later. Spoiler alert, that they don't. They don't explain anything. Ash falls off his surfboard and Misty says,
he must be practicing his wipeouts, right, Togepi?
Togepi then reacts with its typical
Tuki bree.
But let's face it, what it's really saying is,
I have no idea what that means, but you seem pleased with yourself, so yay!
Ash gets a foot cramp just as a big wave is coming in, so things are starting to look bleak. Misty, our resident water-type trainer, looks on in horror and exclaims,
that wave!
As she stands on the beach doing absolutely nothing. Are you joking me? Are you trying to tell me that Misty didn't think to send out Staryu or Goldeen? Like, Brock gets a pass here because he's a rock-type trainer and he's probably shit scared of water. But Misty? Come on, mate, be a better friend. Yeah, so somehow this guy managed to grab his surfboard, get down from the cliff his wanking shed's on, maneuver his surfboard so it glides perpendicular to the waves so that he could get to Ash and bring Ash onto his surfboard, all before the waves could reach Ash. You smell that? That smells like bullshit. The guy gives commands to Puka the Pikachu to do certain surf techniques, but let's be real here. A surfboard will turn based on how much weight is applied to a particular side. The average Pikachu weighs 13 pounds. So with a fully grown adult human and a human child on that surfboard as well, there is bugger all that little Pikachu can do to control that surfboard. What's clearly happening here is the bloke is shifting his own weight to control the board, but is issuing commands to make the Pikachu think that it's helping. Which is nice and all, but it does mean that this little blue-eyed twat is a complete fraud. Not being funny, but if they're traveling with all of their belongings in backpacks everywhere they go, why would Misty and Brock change back into their sweaty clothes that they were just jogging in earlier? They're just gonna stink of BO, the pair of them. That is grim, mate. Put something fresh on. Ash wakes up and is told that the guy with the mustache, Victor, is the one who saved him. Victor tells Ash not to thank him, but to thank his Pikachu, Puka. Mate, we've been through this. Puka is way too light to control a surfboard that has two humans humans on it. You don't need to keep up the charade when Puka's not even in earshot. Brock asks Victor how long he's had Puka, and Victor says it must be about 20 years. Mate, 20 years for a rodent is insane! It really does make you wonder how long Pokemon live for compared to their real-world animal counterparts. Hell, do you remember a while back we were talking about how Wartortle in the Pokedex is said to live for 10,000 years? I'm starting to believe it. Victor tells Ash the story of how he and Puka met, and we cut to a flashback of Puka floating in the ocean on a piece of wood. But wait! Puka has regular eyes here, and then suddenly has one regular eye and one blue eye. And now it has two blue eyes. You know, I think I figured out the secret to Puka's blue eyes and why it had regular eyes at the start of the flashback. Puka has cataracts.
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find Puka's eyes are only blue so that the audience can differentiate between Puka and Ash's Pikachu, and its eyes are only sometimes not blue because of mistakes by the animators.
You say that, but let's look at the facts. Whenever we've seen other Pikachu in the anime, they've always had the standard Pikachu eyes, but we've always been able to differentiate between those Pikachu and Ash's Pikachu. Puka specifically spends a lot of time out on the ocean surfing. And as a former optician, I can tell you with complete confidence that increased prolonged sun exposure can contribute to cataracts, the clouding of your eye's natural lens. Not to mention, even when Puka's not looking directly at the sunlight will be reflecting off the ocean where he spends a lot of time. Add to that the fact that Victor has known Puka for 20 years, which means Puka is old, and age is one of the biggest factors in the development of cataracts. Like for humans, it's normally around the 60 to 70-year-old mark. And look, this is what rodents' eyes look like when they have cataracts. They look blue. This also explains why Victor pretends that Puka is controlling the surfboard. Because Puka can't see very well through the cataracts, so to keep him happy, Victor lets him feel like he's still able to surf effectively. It all makes sense and is quite sad, really. Poor Puka. Direct quote from Victor.
I can't explain how or why it happened, but since that day, me and Puka have never been apart.
Victor, you just explained how it happened. Sure, you might not be able to explain why, but you've already gone through the how. That was the whole point of the flashback. Screw your head on, mate. Victor says Puka can feel the waves in its body. I guess it has to if its eyes are all clouded with cataracts. Look, I just feel bad for Puka, alright? If he lived in the UK, the NHS would just give him intraocular lens implants and he'd be seeing 20/20, or 6/6 as we say in the UK, in no time. I guess not all the healthcare in the Pokemon world is free after all. We see a picture of Victor from 40 years ago, and I get that this surfboard is probably supposed to be designed to kind of look like Pikachu, but let's be real, that's no Pikachu. That's Ampharos. Another Johto tease that went right under my nose as a kid. Pokemon, you little scamps.
You naughty, you teasing me.
Brock asks who the guy in the other picture is, and Victor says it's Jan, and suddenly Ash, Misty and Brock are all stunned. Yeah, how shocking that Victor, someone who lives near the rock that local celebrity Jan is known for getting to the top of, would get a picture with local celebrity Jan at the height of local celebrity Jan's popularity. How incredibly shocking that two people who surf at the same beach would cross paths. I really hope my sarcasm is obvious enough here. Something that's really obvious is that Code Ace will give you 30% off G Fuel today and tomorrow. I say today because I'm recording this on a Sunday. I'm hoping that I get this out on the Sunday, which means that today and tomorrow Code Ace will get you 30% off. It normally gets you 10% off, but it's been boosted this weekend. So until the end of Monday, the 24th of... Are we in May now? Oh my god, it's May, isn't it? Yes, at the end of Monday, the 24th of May, it will go back down to 10%, so grab a bargain while you can. Today, I'm drinking the lovely Hype Sauce. It's an oldie, but a goodie. Oh, it's just so damn good. Let me know in the comments if you're a Hype Sauce fan, because I definitely am. But yes, use Code ACE for 30% because it helps you out massively, it helps this channel out massively, helps it keep going, and remember, it's for over 18s only because children don't need caffeine. God knows you're annoying as shit already. And because it contains caffeine, just drink it responsibly. Don't be a dickhead. Although if you are looking for a caffeine-free option, there's always the hydration range from G Fuel, which contains no caffeine and is full of lovely electrolytes and all that jazzy stuff. So that's worth a look. Code ACE also applies to those as well. Victor explains how every surfer on the beach wanted to be just like Jan. I'm sorry, can we just stop a moment? Am I meant to give a shit about any of this? I tuned in for Pokemon, not old guy wants to be the best surfer. Stop trying to get me interested in surfing, I just couldn't give a fuck. By the way, I know I'm ragging on surfing a lot today. If you're someone who enjoys the hobby of surfing, by all means, have at it. You do it so that I don't have to. That's great. If you enjoy it, if you love the culture around it, whatever, I don't care. Just enjoy it. Do what you want. It doesn't affect me because I'm not the one doing it. But that doesn't mean that I have to suddenly be interested in it because I tuned into Pokemon. Do you know what I mean? The only kind of surfing I like doing is channel surfing, which is exactly what I would do whenever this crappy episode would come on. We get a little montage of Victor trying and failing to surf over and over and over again, and then when he manages to almost surf a little bit but then bails again, he looks over and sees Jan just clapping sarcastically. What a knobhead Jan is! Victor's young, mate. He's still learning. At least I hope it was sarcastic. Otherwise, this grown-ass man watching a little boy splash around in the water and clapping and grinning from ear to ear is just really sinister. Jan might be a creep. Pass it on. Victor says that he thinks Jan could sense the waves too. Listen, that's not the face of a man who senses the waves. That's the face of a man who's looking out to sea and thinking, oh, man, there's got to be more to life than trying to balance on a piece of foam. God, I am a bitter old man sometimes, aren't I? And I love it. We get another flashback of Jan putting his flag into the big rock thanks to Humunga Dunga, and then we find out that Jan gave his surfboard to Victor. Mate, Victor should be careful telling just random people that he owns Jan's surfboard. If Jan's legend is so well known, then that surfboard is probably worth a lot of money to collectors. He's lucky it hasn't been stolen in the 40 years he's had it. Apparently, Jan then went off to surf the world without his surfboard. Man went out to sea in a small boat by himself without the very surfboard that he made his name with? Seems legit. Let's face it, Jan is dead. Confirmed. I've just realized that between an animal being very close to the end of its lifespan and its trainer just kind of humoring it to make sure its final days are the happiest it can possibly be, and a random local legend having an existential crisis and going out to sea to die, it's a really dark episode. Victor says he challenged the big wave himself 20 years later, but apparently according to this flashback, he's the only one who did. What happened to surfers from all around trying to get their flags into the big rock as high as possible? You would have thought a few of them would have tried using Humunga Dunga too. Apparently not. Bunch of pussies. Victor says failing to surf Humunga Dunga was the biggest disappointment of his life, and he never wanted to surf again. According to his flashback though, he then immediately meets Puka and learns to love surfing all over again, like right after. So when you say you never wanted to surf again, what you mean is you had a Mard on for a couple of minutes and then you thought, I could give it another go, I suppose. Victor, stop exaggerating, mate. That's my job. Victor says if it wasn't for Puka, he doesn't know where or what he'd be. Mate, with your hair, mustache, and tan, you'd probably be out getting laid left, right, and center. But sure, getting one chance every 20 years to stick a flag in the top of a rock is just as good. Maybe. Oh, thank fuck. Team Rocket are here, so something interesting can finally happen. I thought for a second maybe this episode would be a total washout, but thank God they're here. Team Rocket's Gyarados sub grabs both Pikachu and Puka with its robot arms, and neither of them think to use Thunderbolt. Really? Really? It's a bit late for that now. Where was this attitude 30 seconds ago? Just as Team Rocket are getting away, they stumble across a school of wild Gyarados. So what you're telling me is we're not going to be seeing any Pokemon battles this episode. Is that right? Of course it's right. Oh, you fucker. James gives us his Gyarados expertise, explaining the Gyarados have probably gathered in the shallow water to lay their eggs, and when it's egg-laying season, they don't like company. If that's the case, why are the Gyarados together then? Surely they should be off in their own individual spaces, farting out their eggs. That's how egg-laying works, right? Team Rocket try to get away, but are tired from pedaling so much, which does make me wonder, why didn't they hook the little Pikachu trap up to the Gyarados sub as an alternate form of power? That way they wouldn't have to pedal. Numpties, all three of them. The Gyarados destroy Team Rocket's sub with their hyper beams and send them blasting off, confirming what we all suspected. There's going to be no battle in this episode. Come on, guys, is it so much to ask to have Pokemon battles in our Pokemon anime? Personally, I don't think it's a big ask. Ash sends out Bulbasaur and tells it to grab Pikachu and Puka with its Vine Whip. But Bulbasaur just wraps both vines around Pikachu and doesn't even make an attempt to grab Puka, so Puka goes tumbling into the ocean. Bulbasaur, mate, that's not very protagonisty. Victor throws his surfboard to Puka, and look, Puka's not even aware of the surfboard until he hears it splash into the water. Only then does he swim forward to grab it. This Pikachu 100% has Cataracts. confirmed. How's that for a Pokemon theory? Victor dives into the water, presumably to make sure his cataract-ridden Pikachu doesn't swim in the wrong direction. And as soon as he does so, Brock suddenly decides that the waves are far too rough to wait just a few more seconds for Victor and Puka, so turns the boat around and zooms off. Brock, mate, you'd rather leave them to die at sea than wait just a little bit longer. That's not very protagonisty either. Puka's spidey sensors start tingling and Victor realizes the giant wave Humungadunga is on its way. The plot armor is strong with this one. Officer Jenny commands everybody to evacuate the beach, given the whole giant tidal wave heading right for them, and everyone gathers just on the other side of this flimsy little fence. Yeah, don't worry guys, you'll be safe there. There's absolutely no way the giant tidal wave will get past that impenetrable barrier. We also get this direct quote from Ash.
Victor, Puka, I don't see them anywhere.
Yeah, that's because you turned tail and left them to die at sea. Bit too late to be concerned about them now. To their amazement, they see Victor and Puka riding the giant wave. Well, technically it's Victor riding the wave. Puka at this point is just a glorified hood ornament. Victor succeeds in planting his flag right in the top of the big rock, right next to Jan's flag. But this is the point. Jan already did this 40 years ago, so I'm just not that impressed. Put a flag on the top of the rock without having to use Humungadunga, then we'll talk. So Victor effectively passes the torch by telling a young kid that he can do this too and giving him Jan's board. But there's a more important question here. What Pokemon is that green and white board based on? Is it Gallade or Shiny Vikavolt? Let me know in the comments. Meanwhile, Team Rocket are trapped on a rock surrounded by the wild Gyarados. I mean, here's a crazy idea. Why not, I don't know, catch them? Even if you don't succeed in catching them, getting them into Pokeballs for a few seconds is a few extra seconds that you can use to escape. Come on, Team Rocket, use your noodles. So those are my WTF moments for Pokemon Season 1, Episode 67, the Pi-Kahuna. Let me know your favorites and any that I might have missed down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Use code ACE for 30% off G Fuel until the end of Monday the 24th of May, and head over to twitch.tv/AceTrainLiam for all of my live streams. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.